everybody, Jenny Ray here, your host for the Marketing Mixtapes. Super glad to welcome back Jenn Possick, Facebook ads expert and expert for the Marketing Mixtapes with us. So thanks so much, Jenn, for coming back.
Thanks so much for having me back.
Always, absolutely. So I was so happy when we talked on the Marketing Mixtapes because one of the things that you shared with us, and we don't want to give too much away, but one of the things that you talked about that I thought was key was repetition, consistency, and value. And this is what's going to get your ads seen by more people. Can you kind of elaborate, give us a little bit more detail about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're consistent, people know what to expect. When you're giving lots of value, they know that you're going to continue to give value. And a lot of times when you give value with free stuff, they expect that much more when they actually purchase.
So you mentioned, we were talking off camera a little bit, and you mentioned that you just saw some really cool tips, kind of like pitfalls that people are falling into with Facebook ads. And this is on top of what you actually talked about in session. This is like 2 additional tips. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Can you go into those and share those with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I heard somebody else giving the exact opposite advice. That's like, when I heard it, I was like, oh, don't tell people that, because it's exactly what you don't want to do. So number 1, when you are running ads, if the ad is going really well and you want to spend more money, so the pitfall that people will do is they think that they can just like double the ad spend and that they're going to get the same results, which logically absolutely makes sense. So if you're spending, let's say you're spending $50 a day, you think, okay, well, if I'm spending $100 a day, I'm going to get the exact same results for that same cost, and everything will be like gangbusters, right? But what happens is Facebook's algorithm doesn't always know how to handle it. And we go into it a little bit more in depth about the algorithm in the interview. But essentially, the algorithm, it needs a little bit of time. So anytime that you're running ads, you really want to give it 48 to 72 hours before you evaluate how an ad is doing. And the same thing is kind of true when you are editing the ad. So anytime you edit the ad, and increasing ad spend is a way to edit the ad, you need to give it that 48 to 72 hours. And if you put too much money at once, it can actually totally tank your results. And I've had that happen to me before when I was first starting out, because I logically thought, well, if I'm reaching this many people with this amount, I'll reach double that if I double my money, and it didn't happen. So instead, what I actually recommend is to, if you want to put more money on an ad, to increase it by 20% of what you're spending. So, and then once you increase it, wait that 48 to 72 hours, give the algorithm that time to adjust. Make sure your ads are still delivering how you want them to do, make sure you're still getting that good cost. And then if it's still that good cost, increase it another 20% and keep going until you get that final number. The other option that you have, if you have an ad that's going really well, and you know that, let's say you're spending like $20 a day, but you really want to get to 100, you could actually just start a second ad that's exactly the same and spend either 80 or 100 on that ad. Make sure that you're getting those results. And then once you are, you could actually even keep both ads going if they're both doing well. But you could also shut off the one that's going for the $20 a day so that you're not competing against yourself for that same audience. Does that make sense?
It does. You said something that kind of makes me wonder, competing against yourself for the same audience.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, and it does happen sometimes, but if you're running multiple ads all to the same audience, anytime you're running an ad, you're basically competing for space. So if you're running multiple ads to the same audience, you're basically competing for that space in the news feed as to which ads are going to show up. So that's why, like, a lot of times, let's say you have an opt-in that's running all the time, but you're doing a launch, you want to shut off the ads that are the opt-in while you're launching so that you're not necessarily competing against yourself if it's that same audience.
Wow. Okay, very good. That's awesome. And then what's tip number 2?
Okay, so number 2, when you go in to create the ads, in Ads Manager, it gives you up to 6 graphics that you can do. And so if you choose all 6 graphics, it'll create 6 different ads, all under the same ad set. So let's say you're spending $20 a day, it'll divide that $20 between the 6 ads. You would think, again, like logical thinking would say that all of the ads would get a split amount and it would be great, and you could actually like split test to see which works best and then turn off whichever is not. But it doesn't really work that way. So again, and this has to do with Facebook's algorithm, once again, the algorithm actually makes a decision a little bit too fast. So what will happen is it will put all of the reach into like 1 or maybe 2 of the ads, and the others like won't even be shown to anybody, because Facebook will decide, well, this one's clearly the winner. We're not going to even show ad number 6 to anybody at all. So instead, I would suggest doing no more than 2 ads at a time under an ad set in order to test them. And that way you're getting a little bit more of an actual split test than if you do all 6.
That's fantastic. Because I've heard, logical thinking would say, but apparently with Facebook ads and Facebook algorithm, you just turn logical thinking off and there's just no point. That's what it seems like. The last thing I want to ask you is I'd love if you could share with us how a client that you've been working with, once you've implemented your strategy with their Facebook ads or their ads, how it helped them grow either their business, their sales, their list, something like that.
Yeah, so I have a client that I'm working with right now, and we've been implementing a few types of ads with them, and they went from having, I think, like 50 fans on their page to, I think that at this point they're getting close to 1,000 within just like a couple weeks, and they're growing their list really quite quickly through spending like $30 a day on an opt-in, and it's great. So just from an ad for conversions where they're sending people to their list, they get a freebie, and it's growing quite quickly and for a good cost. And so I love seeing it, and I love seeing how quickly it can grow as well.
Wow. So working with somebody like you can create a quick turnaround on a situation. I like that.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, we won't take up any more of your time. I really appreciate you being here. If you want to see Jenn Possick talk more about Facebook ads and really give her strategy, she lays it all out for you guys on how to get your ads in front of more people, which will create more opportunities for conversions, sales, etc., then you want to watch the marketing mixtapes with Jenn Possick. And you want to go to www.management.ca/mixed tape so that you can register for that. Jenn, thank you so much again for being here. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.